No, I want to get into some of the functionality within the software that might relate to manufacturing. And this forum really is focused on the plastics industry, but much of what I'm showing could be pertinent to other industries as well. But we'll try to show how the manufacturing suite within Acumatica really provides the infrastructure to improve the operations within the plastics industry. Many of our customers in Northeast Ohio are in that industry, and we have experience with implementing that and meeting your needs. So we'll go ahead and start by taking a look at how Acumatica handles stock items and inventory, because inventory is an important aspect for all industries, but especially in the plastics industry. I showed you that, or mentioned to you, that the options on the side here are based on your security. Each user also has a set of their own favorites. So I have quite a few favorites here. Looks like I've done a few too many demos. Most users might have a shorter list. All I need to do to create a favorite is to click on the star here, and that item will then be added to my list of favorites. If I'm not sure what I'm looking for, I can also type the option in what's called the universal search. So the universal search is going to search through all the menu items. And if I don't remember that stock items are part of my inventory menu, it'll bring that right up for me. I could also search for, and the item we're going to work with today is a plastic rock. I called it a faux rock. So I can go ahead and search for transactions or profiles within the system. Profiles is what Acumatica calls the master data. So a stock item or a customer or a vendor would be a profile. And if I go ahead and search for, say, the word rock, we'll just search on rock here, and let's see that it's found several different items that are related to that. The system will also search through the transactional data. So if I have an invoice number or a PO number, I can search for that right in this universal search, and it'll bring that up here. The system will also search throughout for help, and the help within Acumatica is really detailed and screen-based. It's context sensitive. So on every screen, if I click this question mark, I'm going to pop right into the help. Also, next to each of the fields, there's a question mark, and I'll try to show you that as we go through. But if I'm just searching for the help, I can type that here, and you'll see I'm getting help here about labels, how to print various types of labels. Also, what you'll see throughout as we go through is that you can store files within the system. Maybe on my bill of material, I have a standard operating procedure or some pictures or instructions that I want to be attached. Those can all be stored within the system, and all of those files are stored in the database. I can access those files here by searching. I can also access them anywhere, again, that I have a browser. So if I'm out at a site and I have an iPad with me or my phone and I want to pull up a file, I can search within Acumatica and find that file, and I can pull that up on my browser. So all that being said, long way to go around. I'm going to go into my rock, my faux rock, and we'll take a quick look at this item. So within Acumatica, all the data is organized into what's referred to as classes. So we have things like customer classes, vendor classes. In this case, we're going to look at item classes. So I've configured an item class that's for some of my manufactured finished goods. And then within that item class makes it really easy to create new items because there's quite a few defaults within the system. So I can say, for example, what valuation method I want to use for that. And I can always override that for a particular item, but it's going to make it easier to set up my new items. I can also copy and paste from one item to another item. So really easy to set up and create master data. There's robust facilities for importing data. We won't have time to go through that today, but just know that as your implementation partner, we have templates and make it easy to bring your data over into a new system. We can choose a planning method for our purchasing, and we'll touch on that a little bit as we go through here. The system provides an MRP, which can be used to do time-phased planning. We can also use just a straight inventory replenishment with a min-max to do our purchasing in that way. So depending on what the requirements are, and it can be a mix or match on that. We also have the ability to track lots and serial classes. So in the plastics, often the lot is an important functionality, and those classes can be defined dynamically, so it doesn't have to be across all of your different items. Of course, that might be different. You can choose things like when that serial or lot number is assigned, if it's when you receive the item, the raw material, or use it, or the finished goods received or used. You can track the expiration date. You can issue your materials in a variety of ways as well. So it might be first in, first out, or maybe the user scans to indicate what they've used. We can also create some auto numbering for our serial numbers as we like. The system is multi-warehouse as well, and the MRP will handle transfers between those warehouses. We can also have locations within the warehouse if you require bins. And we can set up an availability calculation to control for our inventory. Do we want to consider our items that are on order, that are already on purchase order, as part of our availability? Things like that. So that's a little bit about the item class. A couple other things I just wanted to highlight on our stock items. Not a good example here because I didn't set up any vendors, but we can set up multiple vendors, one or multiple vendors for a particular item that we purchase. We can have a preferred vendor. We can track the lead time and whatnot for each of those vendors. Attributes is functionality within Acumatica that, again, is throughout the software, not just for stock items. So attributes, in this case, I've created an attribute that's called color, but I can have multiple attributes throughout the system. And here's some examples of some of the different attributes that are already defined in my system. An attribute can be a drop-down list, or it can just be a free text field. We can configure that as needed. And then on our item class, we can configure which attributes pertain to a particular stock item type, to a particular class of items, so that when I am configuring, say, my finished goods, I may have a color, but maybe on my raw materials, I'm tracking something different. So just to keep the clutter down, we can associate those attributes with a particular item class. And then those attributes can be added to the generic inquiries that I showed you a minute ago. So if I go back to my list of stock items, you'll see that I have color here as a column, and that was all defined dynamically. It's not part of the base software, but you can see that it looks just like any other item. So if I want any other column, so if I want to see all of my brown items, I can go ahead and do that. See if I have anything in here that's blue. Oh, got a couple of blue things as well. We can also create cross references on our items, so that we might have an item that we purchased with one part number and stock internally is a different number, and maybe we sell it to a customer with a completely different number. So all those, a barcode as well, we can have all of those references within our system, and those can all be used on the documents when we're creating our purchase orders or printing our customer-facing documents. All the documents within Acumatica can be emailed. That can all be automated. Acumatica has a really robust automation system, so everything within the system, for example, the MRP, generating invoices, emailing invoices, creating our manufacturing orders anywhere within the system. And we'll see some examples where you see a little clock that can be automated, and the documents can be emailed. There's also a report designer that is built into Acumatica, part of the software. So you have the ability to customize or configure, I should say, all of the forms and reports that are in the system. Adding your logo within the system is done in one place. It can be different for different divisions or companies within your multi-company instance. And when you configure that in the system, that will automatically print on all the paperwork.